Today, we are doing the Spanish vowel U. And so our memory trick for this one is there's always room for the Spanish U. Okay? There's always room for the Spanish U. So if you look at the letters that I highlighted here in the word room, you'll notice it makes the U sound. The U as in a room. Well, the same U that is in room is the same sound as the Spanish U. So again, it's very easy. Spanish vowels, they are not like English vowels. You know, English vowels have like a bunch of different sounds, but the Spanish ones, they are pretty consistent. So for example, the English letter U, because in English, this is called the letter U. So in English U, we have cute, up, put, busy, music. So that's about 3 or 4 sounds just among those words. But if you look at the Spanish U, because over here, this letter is referred to as U, we have, we have uno, mucho, nunca, uvas, estudiante. So as you can see, the sound is much more consistent over on that side of the board. So over here on the English side, when you have like several different sounds for the letter U, over on the Spanish side, it's way more consistent. So it's a lot easier that way. But yeah, so what do all of these words have in common? They all have the oo sound. Okay, well, you're in the right place, Meme. If you want to learn Spanish, you're in the right place. And I have a class coming up tomorrow, so join the class. If you need to, actually, you can DM me here, and I'll send you the registration for the class where we're doing private small groups for Spanish. But anyway, so yes, there's always room for the Spanish U. So as you can see, different letter sounds for the English side, very consistent for the Spanish side. So now let's see it in context. Let's see it in context because I don't just do like isolated words. I like to put it in a context. Meme, you can go ahead and send me a DM. That's what I normally tell people on here. Send me a DM. That way I don't get too far off from the lesson. So just send me a DM and I'll make sure that you get that, that link that has the information on it, because it's a link that'll lead you to the registration page. So just go ahead and send me a DM right here, right now on TikTok, and I'll go ahead and I will send it to you. No problem at all. But anyway, so now let's say, for example, now that we've already seen a bunch of words. If you all remember, this could be like a memory game for you. If you all remember what was on the Spanish side, go ahead. I want you to put a comment that has a Spanish U. So in the comments, put a word that has the Spanish U sound. Put one word that has the Spanish U. If you can, try to come up with another word that wasn't on the list. Maybe I probably should not have said memory game. I'm trying to see, can y'all think of some other ones? But yeah, 2 is one. Cuba. Ooh, good one. Yeah, Cuba, the country. Yeah. Okay, yep. Mucho, uvas, nunca, lunes. Oh, good one. Day of the week. Yeah. Bonus points to those who are coming up with ones that weren't on the board. Yeah, bonus points. Yes. Okay, so yeah, lunes. Cuba, usted, and somebody said 2 earlier. Good, good. These are words I haven't heard before. Very good job. Good job. So, yep, you guys are coming up with some good ones. Let's hear some more, because I know y'all got some other ones up in there. Luna, which is the word moon. Yeah, good job, Luna. Peru. Yes. Uno, nunca, muchacho, cuchillos. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of good ones. I'm seeing a bunch of good ones. Muñeca. Yeah, the word for doll. That's another good one. Cuando. Okay, I see muchacho. Okay. Yep, you all are coming up with some good ones. Muchísimo. cuello, desayuno. Good one. Okay, so for this activity, since you all are good at identifying words that have the oo sound in it, we are going to do an example of finding those in a sentence. So I want you all to look at number one. Look at número uno. Una más una son dos. And I want you all to count how many times you see the Spanish oo in the number one sentence. And go ahead and put it in the comments. Let's see, how many times do you see the Spanish oo in the first sentence? We're just doing number one for right now. Okay, let's see if you guys were right. Vamos a contar. Uno. Dos. Good job. Okay, so that one is 2 for that one. Dos veces. All right, look at número dos. Mi fruta favorita es la uva. Vamos a contar. How many times do we see the Spanish oo in the second sentence? Number 2. Okay, let's count and see. Uno, dos. Okay. Otra vez is the word for again, otra vez. Okay, great. All right, now do número tres. El estudiante usa una computadora. Go ahead and tell me how many are in número tres. Okay, let's count and see. Okay, so, okay, el estudiante número uno, okay. Usa dos, tres, cuatro. El estudiante usa una computadora. So we have 4 times in that one. Cuatro veces, okay? Let's look at número cuatro. Tell me how many times you see the oo sound in number 4. La luna es muy bonita. Let's look a little closer. A lot of y'all are saying 1 time, but it's actually uno, dos. Yep, 1 in luna and 1 in muy. So, yep, good job. So that one is dos. So, la luna es muy bonita. Okay, and then let's talk about the last one. Me gusta escuchar música. How many times do we see the oo sound in número 5? Okay, vamos a contar. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, good job, everyone. Buen trabajo. Excelente trabajo. Okay, so exactly. So as you can see, now you can now see the sound in different sentences, because one thing I like to do, yes, it's good to teach it isolated at first. You know, you can identify in a word, but then after you identify in a word, the natural progression is to look at it in a sentence. Can you still identify it when it's a complete sentence? Can you see the different sounds? And yes, we can see the sound oo multiple times throughout these sentences. So very good job. So yes, so good job identifying the sounds both isolated and in a sentence. Very good. Yep, good word. Good word. I see la urgencia. Okay. Yep, that's another one that has the U sound in it. Now, let's take a look at some examples here. Now, just like there are rules, there's always an exception to every rule. There's always exceptions to rules. You know, nothing is really ever 100%. So I wanted to let you all know there's an exception for the Spanish U, because some of you all may look at words like this. So let's talk about the exceptions to the rule. So there are exceptions here for different words. So let's say, for example, you see the word queso. What if you see this word, que? What about the word quiera? What about the word guitarra? What about the word querer? So these are a few examples, because if we know that there's that the sound for the Spanish U is U, well, does that mean that this is cueso and cue and guera and cuer? No, that doesn't work for these. So I just had to let you know that there are exceptions. So just so you know, 90% of the time, 90% of the times, it's going to sound like this. It's going to sound like U. But there are a few times, few exceptions, a handful of times when it doesn't. And the rule for that, let me write that here. The times when it wouldn't say U, like the word room, is after a G or Q. The U is silent. All right. So as you can see, after a G or a Q, the U is silent. So look at that. There are Qs, there are Gs, and it's like the U doesn't even make any noise. It just goes straight to the eso, queso, que, guera. So in these cases, the U would be silent, and it is after a G or a Q, the U is silent. So that's why when you look at words that have the letter U in it and you don't hear it, it's because it's silent. And why is it silent? Because typically after a G or a Q, the U is silent. So like I said, these are just special exceptions. 90% of the time, it will follow this rule, but there's just a few exceptions for it. So I had to be able to let you know that, yes, there are a few exceptions to it, because, you know, that's just like with any language, there are going to be grammar rules that don't always, you know, follow every single thing. So that's why I said. So just to let you know, there are times when, you know, it doesn't always follow that. But just as a rule of thumb, then yes, 90% of the time when you see the U, then yes, you'll know that, yes, that is the correct word. So when you said the word lunes and luna and, you know, desayuno, stuff like that, at the same still time, then yes, absolutely, it's going to have the U sound. That's why I say there's always room for the Spanish U, but I had to tell you about those exceptions, though. I did have to tell you about the exceptions to it because, you know, sometimes grammar rules, they have that. Sometimes they're exceptions. Sometimes it doesn't always make the most sense, but it's the rules. So, okay, so let's see. Let's do a couple of questions on this one. Let's see. A, B, C. Ooh, good question, Yadiel. I was waiting on someone to bring that up. And so because my TikTok lessons are very abbreviated, they're almost like little appetizers. I don't go that deep on here. So I'm actually not going to cover that because I got to save something for the class. So I'll answer some questions on here, but when it gets, you know, into like too much explaining the grammar, I'm like, you know what, you all need to join my class for that one. So I'll talk about that later. But yes, you asked a good question, but I'm actually going to cover that in my class. I won't go over that on TikTok. But okay, so you all can put A, B, or C in the comments. A, B, or C. What sound does the Spanish U make? Yeah, good job. Good job. Yes. So if you chose be as the word for be, if you chose be, great job. Great job, you guys. Yes. Ooh. And you know why? Because there's always room for the Spanish ooh. So next time you see a word, like let's say, for example, let's see, because we just did a bunch of examples. Let's say if you see a word like mucho, and you want to remember, okay, how do I pronounce this word? Is it mucho? Is it micho? You just remember our rule. Remember our rule up here. There's always room for the Spanish ooh. So it's mucho, mucho. So just remember our pronunciation rule up here. There's always room for the Spanish ooh. So that's how you got that. Thank you for the hearts and thank you for the roses. Those are so nice. Thank you so much. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Lo aprecio.